service director at MTE. I have 33 years of experience in the turf equipment field, and today we're going to go through and do a little bit of preventive maintenance seminar on large area rotary mowers. This particular mower is the Jacobsen HR 700. It's a new product this year. In order to get maximum life out of this machine, we need to really do a good job of taking care of it. We'll start with caster tires. The caster tires, I've seen machines come into our shop before that had 3 or 4 flat caster tires, and it's unnecessary to just let them go when it's just a matter of replacing a tire. The quality of cut suffers greatly when you've got a flat caster tire. So keep your tire pressures up in your casters, check them daily as you operate the machine. Maintaining the correct tire pressure on any mower is going to give you greater traction, greater climbability, and all around better performance. Keep an eye on your tire pressures. If you do have a tire that's worn to the point where you're slipping with it, replace that tire. The only reason I bring this up is we've seen this quite a few times before, where people are actually getting contaminants in the tank as they fill the tank. Make sure your fuel nozzle is clean. Make sure that you're not injecting anything into the fuel tank that's going to plug up the outlet line, which of course is going to prevent the machine from getting fuel, and the engine will be underpowered at that point. So keep an eye on that and be careful about filling your fuel tank. With the rotary blade, I've seen a lot of people grind a rotary blade where they're grinding it down here to try to match the cutting angle. That's not the proper way to grind a blade. If you can envision this, if you grind this blade down this far, you've got this much material here left of the blade. So at that point, you're thinned up the blade to the point where if you do hit something, you stand a chance of breaking off a blade tip and possibly injuring someone. The proper way to grind a rotary blade, number one, is to match the factory angle, the back side of the blade here. You follow the angle for whatever it was when you started. I've seen a lot of people, I mean, your normal angle is kind of like this. I see them where they're turning the thing into what looks like an axe head. And it robs horsepower from the engine, and it also increases fuel consumption. It's very important to keep a blade sharp. Cleaning underneath the deck is important because if there's too much material, too much debris under there, you're going to start losing vacuum, which is also going to affect your quality of cut. You'll end up with a lot of clumping if you don't get the vacuum coming up to pull the grass up. Back to a caster wheel, this is my pet peeve. I recommend greasing the unit daily. And it's only because of the fact that you've got caster wheel bearings that are going to fail. If you don't, you've got bushings that are going to fail in the caster arm back here that are going to fail, and everything just starts to loosen up as you operate the machine. So it's very important to grease this unit. I've had people tell me, well, I do grease it. I grease it twice a month. That's not enough. Go to your owner's manual, at least follow what they specify as far as greasing this machine goes. The machine will last a lot longer. You'll have to do a lot less maintenance to the machine down the road. keeping the radiator clean. Anytime that the temperature reaches 80 or 85 degrees or higher, my phone is ringing off the hook because people have machines that are overheating. Well, and then I ask them what they're doing to clean the radiator. Very often I'm told they're using water. Well, what will happen with water, if there's still water in the radiator, as the unit fires back up and heats up, you'll end up with any dust that's left in the radiator at that point turns into little concrete blocks that plug the cooling fins in the radiator. The recommended procedure to clean a radiator is to blow the radiator with compressed air from the back side coming back towards away from the engine. The reason for that is your fan is sucking all the debris coming in, so you would want to blow it back out this way. Otherwise, if you try to blow it out from the outside, you're just forcing the material further into the radiator, which in turn will plug your radiator. So blow them out often, and blow them out from the fan side backwards, away from the engine. Many people have different theories about air filters. My thought on an air cleaner is when this indicator is red, it's time to change the air filter. I don't use compressed air on an air filter. If you feel you need to remove the air filter, say the indicator does turn red, and you remove the air filter, the best way to clean it, the only way I would recommend to clean it, is to tap it. To just tap it on a workbench. And I'm not talking pound it, just tap it. What will happen is if you blow an air cleaner out with compressed air, there's steel mesh on the outside of the air filter. And as you're blowing it out, the paper is vibrating inside of the air filter, and it will blow a hole through the paper, and at that point you're ingesting dirty air into your engine. Make sure if you do remove this air filter that when you put it back in, the inside of the air filter housing is clean, and then reinsert the air cleaner. This is a Tier 4 diesel engine. As you can see, this is up inside of here is the diesel particulate filter. It is imperative to run 10W30 CJ4 engine oil. It's diesel rated. It might be a little tough to find. You can get, I know Rotella makes a product. We're getting a product from Gulf. There are several vendors out there that do make a 10W30 CJ4. It's gotta be diesel rated, because what will happen is if you're using the wrong engine oil, it will produce more soot and it will plug up your diesel particulate filter. EPA regulations have really changed the way that we're running the diesel engine. All of the exhaust is going through this filter. There's a bunch of little tubes inside the filter. So all of your exhaust is going back and forth through these little tubes. What will happen is over time, it will start to fill up with soot, your diesel particulate filter. So with these sensors that are in the filter, it's measuring temperature differences and flow differences from one side of the diesel particulate filter to the other. During normal operation of the machine, it will clean itself. There are those occasions when the filter is plugged enough and there's a big enough difference from one sensor to the other that you will need to park the machine and let the machine go through what is called a parked regen. So what happens at that point is each one of the injectors in the engine is spraying 4 times for every stroke of the cylinder. they're really dumping the fuel to this thing to try to get it hot to burn the soot off the inside of the diesel particulate filter. I have spoken with many people who really don't maintain their hydraulics the way they should. There is a recommended interval for hydraulic fluid change. Change it at that interval. You've got maybe $800 worth of hydraulic oil in this system that is protecting many thousands of dollars worth of hydraulic components. It doesn't make any sense to risk the whole drive circuit, the deck circuit, just to save a couple of bucks by not changing your hydraulic fluid. I highly recommend you change it at the recommended intervals. A catastrophic failure can cost up to $8,000 or $10,000. It just doesn't make sense not to change it at the intervals that the factory is recommending. Back to hydraulic components. I recommend highly that at least weekly you go through and take a look at all your hydraulic lines, looking for chafing, looking for loose fittings, looking for any hydraulic leak through the machine. The reason for this is you don't need to get that phone call from the operator who's 5 miles away saying that he has a massive hydraulic leak and it's something that was as simple as a loose fitting or something that could have been caught in advance. To wrap up, if you follow these steps, you have a very good opportunity to extend the life of your new piece of equipment. So, at this point, I'd like to tell you all to have a great day. Thanks.